Welcome back to Awadd Radio here on Richmond's home for VCU Basketball, the new sports radio 910 The Fan, now at 105.1 FM, and we have been committed to taking you closer to the action. And today I am sitting in the head coach's office, joined by head coach Phil Martelli Jr. What's going on, Coach?
You know, we're right in the thick of it now. We're a couple days of practice in, and you can start to see the start of the season on the horizon. So all is good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we talked to you a few months ago as you were just getting settled in here. What's the experience been like this summer?
Summer was great. We were able to have them for 8 weeks. NCAA rules allow us to work with them 8 weeks, limited. You know, we have 4 hours a week of basketball, which is kind of a joke, but you know, they get 4 hours with strength and conditioning, 4 hours with us on the court. So it gave us 4 or 5 days a week to get out there with them, start to implement some stuff. And more importantly, it was for them to build a connection. It got them to know each other's games, get comfortable with each other. And that really was the most important thing. And it flew by. You know, those 8 weeks came and went, and all of a sudden you start looking up and you go, okay, school starts in about 2.5 weeks. And you know, the season's on the horizon after that. So, yeah, everything's great.
I'm excited for the black and gold game, October 11th. And with the changes in the roster and, of course, changes in the coaching staff, it feels like that gets more emphasis for people to come out and, you know, put a name to the faces or put a face to the names that they hear about. For you, how important are these next 4 or 5 weeks before the season begins?
Yeah, it's huge. And certainly things like that, like black and gold, allowing our fans, our community to get to know these guys. We were able to do an open practice Labor Day weekend for our season ticket holders, you know, a special event for them where they could see us practice, do one of our, you know, 45-minute to an hour workouts, and then mingle with the guys. Again, it's important for them to know, yeah, there's new guys here, but they're really good people and people that they're going to want to root for. So, again, black and gold gives us that opportunity as well. Get out there, you know, have the fans in the crowd, get some noise in there. We'll play it real. I mean, that'll be real for us. I know some people go out there and it's, you know, a fake couple minutes, you know, and they call that a scrimmage. Like, that's our practice that day, and they will be expected to have the level of energy and intensity that we would if we were practicing in the BDC that morning, you know, at a normal time. So, you know, those days, those opportunities are huge for us.
Will you practice as those teams, as the black versus the gold, before that game?
No, because we'll switch the teams up through that. We'll do some sort of, whether it's 3 or 4 segments, 8 or 10-minute segment. We'll switch those teams through each segment because there's still a lot of things I want to see, combinations I want to see, lineups I want to see, certain guys together, two-man groups, 3-man groups, 4-man groups, and obviously 5-man groups that I want to see together. So we switch them every day. You know, today's practice, I'm almost done putting the teams together, and they'll be different than what our first 2 practices were. And it'll be different tomorrow and the next day and the next day. We're not one of those, okay, here's the starters and here's the reserves. Quite honestly, right now, I don't even know who that would be. You know, we have 13 guys that are all pretty good players that are all very competitive and are all competing to be in those top, obviously, starting lineups, and then, you know, whatever the bench looks like.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that seems to be the biggest question that flies into my DMs right now. Here with Coach Phil Martelli Jr., I'm Adam Epstein. You can hear me pregame and halftime throughout the season, and everybody's asking me, can you give me any insight on what a starting 5 could look like, or maybe what a starting 5 you envision would look like?
I don't have one right now. I really don't. That's not some coach BS. That's the real deal. That right now I could see it going a number of different ways. And I also don't look at it as like, well, the 5 best players are your starters. I think people that start their 5 best players, either they don't have enough depth, or they're probably doing their team a disservice. I like having some pop off the bench offensively and defensively. So really, to me, it's what group comes out with that right energy to start games. Who are the right guys that, hey, at that 15.5 mark, they're going to the table. You know, when they go in the game, it's going to provide a spark. I look at it that way as a whole, rather than, okay, the starting 5. It's our rotation, how our rotation sets, whether it's playing 7 guys, 8 guys, 9 guys, 10 guys, 11 guys. It'd be hard to play 11, but but with this group, we have 13 that could play, and the reality is, if you're going to be good, then you should have guys that are not playing a ton that are pretty good players. And at least right now, I envision that for this team. Now, they'll continue to compete, and they'll have every opportunity to compete every day here until November 3rd.
Joined by VCU basketball coach Phil Martelli Jr. My friends and I joked when you took over, Coach Roos comes with the furniture here at the BDC. Is there anyone that's worked with him that you think has looked a little different, maybe bigger or stronger?
Yeah, I could go 1 through 13 on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy he's as good as there is in the country. He is a bargain deal coming with the furniture, I will tell you that. He is a bargain deal. Because to find a guy at that level that's as good as he is, and him and I have been in lockstep every step of the way of, hey, this is what we're trying to accomplish on the court. How does that mirror what he's trying to accomplish with them, strength and athleticism wise? We were at dinner with a recruit, and one of our guys was just kind of saying, he's like, whatever he weighed in at that week, he's like, oh, I weighed in at such and such. He goes, I put on 15 pounds since I've been here. And usually when you hear that, it goes, and this was an older guy, usually you hear that, and then the next is like, yeah, and I'm not as fast, I don't feel as, and he said, I feel more explosive than I've ever felt. And this guy that's been in college for 4 years. So the fact that a guy like that could come in, put on 14 pounds, and be more, and I agree, watching him, I felt that, okay, he's a more explosive version of himself than what we've seen previously. That is a credit to Roos. It's a credit to Lamine, his GA, who's outstanding as well. We'll leave here after this year and be a stud wherever he goes. It's a credit to their program, what they've put together.
So you're still working on a starting 5, and everybody gets to compete, right? You said until November there as you figure things out. Have you been able to identify who the primary ball handlers are going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's always a question for people. There's certain guys that you've seen, do really well with it. I mean, our smaller guards, if you want to call them that, Awadd Noel, Nick Lewis, Brandon Jennings, Terrence Hill have all done a really good job throughout the summer and fall here. Barry Evans is somebody we can put the ball in his hands. But the reality is, for the way that we play, that's not – people get caught up in that sometimes, like, well, who's the point guard? And the reality is, in today's day and age, there's very few true point guards anymore. There's very true John Stockton, bring it down, set the table, get Karl Malone shots, guys shots. There's not a lot of those guys anymore, right? Like, look in the NBA, point guards are Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Guy averages 30 a game. It's Damian Lillard, guy averaged 30 a game, right? It's guys like that. So that's one piece of it. The other piece is, because of the way we play, everyone gets an opportunity. Again, they have to prove that they're capable of it, but everybody gets an opportunity to kind of start offense and initiate for us. We want to get the ball down the floor. The biggest thing for me is getting the ball down the floor and getting us into something right away, right? So if that means that on a particular possession, Awadd Noel inbounds and now he's going to be our trailer and he's hitting Jadrian Tracy, who's bringing it up as the point guard, it looks like, in that possession, then so be it. We're getting into offense and we're flowing anyway, flowing through that anyway. So, to me, I don't overly concern myself with that. Now, set plays and things like that, we'll kind of have those certain guys will be guys that will initiate more.
What do you feel like with this group that you have right now and what you've seen could be the strengths of this year's team?
Well, I think we have good length, good athleticism. I do like that. I think our positional size is good. I don't know if it's great, but it's good. We have a very, very competitive group, which is always – I'll start with that. Like, we'll figure the rest of it out. We have a competitive group, and I've had some people that have come through and watched us work out in the summertime and the fall, and they're like, you got guys, laying out, diving for balls, and it's – July 19th, it's September 7th. So that to me bodes well. I think we have a defensive minded, we've done way more offense just because I recognized early on, they have a pretty defensive mindset. And we have the tools to be good on defense, and there's some little things that we'll do and, some wrinkles and things that we'll throw that we'll have to teach here coming up soon. But, I do think that. I think they have a pretty unselfish characteristics. Now we'll have to find out like who can be that guy, right? Like we really need a bucket. Like who's going to be that guy? Have some ideas, but some of it also we need to see. It's 9 new guys in a new system, so there's going to be some trial and error with that. That's what the exhibitions are for. That's what the non-conference is for, to try and work those kinks out so that by the time we hit December 31st, we need to be firing on all cylinders.
You're listening to the voice of VCU basketball coach Phil Martelli Jr. I'm Adam Epstein. This is Awadd Radio here on the new Sports Radio 910 The Fan, now at 105.1 FM. Richmond's home for VCU basketball as we sit here in the coach's office just a few weeks away from the black and gold scrimmage. I just asked you about strengths. Any weaknesses that you think, hey, we want to figure these out before the season begins? I got to think team chemistry's top of that list there with how many new guys you have.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal to me. Again, that's what those summer weeks, that's really the main thing I was looking for. Obviously, the pace at which we go, the efficiency that we, with the way that we operate our workouts, those things were important. But that connection was really important. I think we'll shoot the ball fine. I'm always I need to see it to believe it kind of guy with that. I think we obviously have guys that have shot the ball well through their careers. I mean, Terrence Hill's a fantastic shooter. Barry Evans shot almost 40% for us last year at Bryant. Tyrell Ward has shot 40% in the SEC, but you got to see those things. Adrian Tracy's shot it well. But you have to see it, in live action. So that's always one that I'm waiting to see. Our shooting numbers weren't great in the fall, but a lot of that is, they're coming out of the weight room and we're getting right into practice and things like that. These couple days we have not lifted prior to practice, and our shooting numbers have been really good. So I'm, I lean somewhere. I'm in the middle on that one, but still, I do believe that can be positive for us, but have to see it, right? It has to get the live action to see it. And then just the other one to me is just turnovers, like playing at this pace, and we're going to turn the ball over some. That's just part of the game. So I'm not one of these we have to average 7 turnovers and lead the country. I want them looking for opportunities. And, yeah, sometimes that means, hey, I threw that lob and it went off his hands. It was a little too high. But the reality is, like a good shooter, you'd let him take 5 shots. You'd let him miss a shot if he's going to make 4. And it's the same with these guys. Now, when we get out in transition where I think we can be really good, we have to get shots. It's something we preach every day. We have to get shots. We don't have to make every shot, but we have to get shots, and then we have to be monsters on the offensive plays.
Joined by head coach Phil Martelli Jr. I'm Adam Epstein. This is Awadd Radio. You speaking of shooting, I prepared this question, Chris. I'm pretty proud of myself for this question. Did some research. So under the previous head coach, this team nearly broke VCU's all-time three-point record in both seasons. They had most field goals attempted last year in VCU history and were too shy of the 339 record set in the Final Four year. How much do you envision that being part of your offense, shooting that many attempts from the outside?
We don't focus on we have to get a number of threes. What we focus on is we have to get great shots, right? And with the way that we play, we should have 5 weapons on the court. We should be able to get really good shots. And it's the reads that we teach. It's, hey, you're open, shoot the ball. There were probably 4 or 5 times on practice on Tuesday where I had to yell to a guy shoot the ball. You're open, shoot the ball. Now, with that, if you're guarded, get it to the next guy, right? And that's all I ever really talk to them about is if you're open and you're a guy that has proven to make shots and have worked on your shot, shoot the ball, whatever that looks like. And that's not just from 3. That's guys driving the ball and kicking it down. I'm there's nobody there. You had a layup. Go take the layup. Now, if you drive it and help comes, then you better be finding that guy. And I think with our system, we've been able to create advantages for guys where they can drive the ball, they can make plays, they can cut, they can disrupt the defense that way, and then from there being able to find somebody's open, right? to me, that's the game. It's a very simple game if you make it simple, and it's sometimes I've heard this before. It's a simple game played by complicated, complex human beings. And that sometimes we do that. Sometimes we get in our own way with that. So trying to eliminate them getting in their own way, trying not to get in the way myself of like, okay, too many things, but let them go be basketball players. Here's the reads. Here's what we're looking for. One of these things is going to be open. You drive the ball. Either you're going to have the layup. This guy's going to step up. You're going to have the drop down. This guy's going to step up. You're going to have the kick out. Like, just make the right play. And as long as we do that, whatever the numbers are. Now, we will talk a lot about we want to get more shots on our opponents. So that means taking care of the ball, getting offensive rebounds, turning them over on the defensive end and limiting offensive rebounds for the other team. Usually you have pretty good numbers there.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of it's, though, making the right decision.
That's it. And that's what we do a lot of. A lot of our work in the summer and the fall is just built off of that, with sometimes no defense, sometimes half speed defense, sometimes full speed defense, right? And what is the read? So we'll do it today in practice. We'll do it, a cutting reads, right? Like, just look at your defender. He's going to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. If he's staring at the ball, then you're cutting. If he's not and he's off you in your space, you're catching and shooting. We'll do that with ball screen reads. We'll do that with actions like pin downs and flare screen reads and things like that. We'll do that with drive and kick reads, which is a big deal. Like, we do that stuff every day to kind of build those habits. And now it's just, again, letting them use their natural abilities, but just go make the right decisions.
Do you think you could see a lineup with all 5 guys being three-point shooters?
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Really, I just want it to be 5 threats on the court, 5 weapons on the court. They don't all have to have the same, and really shouldn't all have the same skill set, but it should be 5 guys you have to guard in some way, shape, or form. And, okay, if that quote-unquote 5-man is out there on the perimeter, and, he's not really going to shoot the ball, okay, what is it that he can do that he can be a threat? Can he catch and get to a handoff or a follow ball screen and then roll to the rim? You can take advantage of that. Is he going to be a monster offensive rebounder? Things like that. So, again, it doesn't come down to me of like, we got to have 4 shooters. We got to have 5 shooters. No, we got to have 5 basketball players that all have some capabilities. Let us as a staff sit up here and figure out how that blends together and the right system to put them in. But it's not for me necessarily like, all right, well, he can't shoot, so he can't play. No, I don't believe that.
Joined by head coach Phil Martelli Jr. I'm Adam Epstein. This is Awadd Radio. You can tweet us your thoughts at Awadd Radio or at 910 The Fan. If it's a good tweet, we'll read it on air. I mentioned how many people have tweeted me about the starting lineup. The other tweet I get a lot of is, do you know what role your dad would play this season? Is he going to be at every game?
He won't be at every game. He's kind of consulting with us. He was here, he was here recently, and, really just kind of doing stuff with the staff. It's more of that camaraderie and, how to work together, right? It's a large staff. It's a great staff, but it's a large staff. So, just like with the team, that's different personalities, that's different ways that guys operate and work, and helping everybody understand, like, your role is really important to this. Whether your title is assistant coach, whether it's director of video, whether it's GA, whatever it is, like, we need everybody's best. So he's really helped with that, outside of even my daily conversations with him about, that type of stuff. But it's his magic, his secret sauce is always people. Like, he never will say to me, like, you need to play more zone, you need to play more man, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It's not X's and O's, it's people. And but he's really good at that. He's really good at, hey, just so you know, like, during practice, like, you got on the one guy and his shoulder's slumped, and then you need to make sure, like, if it's not you, somebody else is picking him up, right? Like, one of the coaches or something, where another guy, he's like, yeah, you got on him, and he, like, wide eyes and was like, okay, I'm ready for the challenge, right? So he's really good at that, like, just kind of reading people, but obviously his impact will be felt, around here for sure.
Coach, what would be your message to the fan base in terms of your confidence in the group that you've put together here in your first year at VCU?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this group. I get excited every day to get down there with them. The days all feel long. which is good. Good and bad. It's like you kind of like, all right, I want to get out there and be on the court with these guys, which is good because some places you just look for the days off and go like, all right, thank God I don't have to see anybody, on Tuesday, right? That's not the case with this group. And then on the days off, like just seeing guys getting their work in, by themselves with a teammate, with a manager, just getting shots. Like they're not shy about that. Like they get in, they do their work. So that bodes well. And I would say that they deserve the support of this fan base and this community, and here's what I don't want to have happen, because I've already met a bunch of people and they're like, yeah, I got to get tickets. Like, I don't want people to wait too long, because there's going to come a point where they go like, man, we really want tickets to this game or these couple games, and they might not be there, right? So don't wait. Don't sit back and say, well, let's see what happens. And we have a good schedule coming in. The teams that are coming here, you go through that list, it's teams that have, very recently been in the NCAA tournament, teams that have a chance to play in the NCAA tournament, right? So you may look at it now and go like, oh, Wagner and St. Peter's start. Well, Wagner could very well be the favorite in the Northeast Conference. St. Peter's could very well be a favorite in the MAC. And you could be looking in March on Selection Sunday or those first couple games and being like, oh, man, I didn't realize they were going to be good. I would have gone to that game, right? Like, no, those teams are good. Like, those teams are good, and they were handpicked for a reason. But get out here and support this group. They deserve it. They deserve it as players, and to be honest with you, they deserve it more as people, because they really want to be here. They really want to have VCU on their chest. They really want to wear those black and gold and white, and I don't even know what other color uniforms we have, but they are like ecstatic to be doing that, and they deserve that community support and a loud Siegel Center to boot.
Coach, you got me fired up. I'm ready to go. Looking forward to talking to you throughout the season.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Adam. Thanks for everything.
That is Coach Phil Martelli Jr. I'm Adam Epstein. You're listening to Awadd Radio on The Fan.